Welcome to Writing Westward. My name is West, and this week we'll be discussing whether or not 2025 was a good year for superhero movies. There are ultimately two methods of addressing this question. The first way is the artistic, audience-focused way, and the second way is a monetary, studio-centric approach that examines a movie's merits based on financial performance over critical reception. In an ideal world, these two lenses overlap. The critically acclaimed artistic movies should also theoretically be the most successful movies monetarily. But 2025 has disproved that with its lineup of superhero movies and their receptions at the box office. Obviously, both of these viewpoints have their merits, and I'm not here to discuss which one is the better way of evaluating film. That's a topic for another video. This video, I'm using both the artistic and monetary lens to explore whether or not 2025 was a good year for superhero movies. And the short answer to that question is yes? Kind of. Let me explain. To answer this question, I'll be considering the 4 cinematic feature releases from DC and Marvel that came out in 2025. These movies, in chronological order, are Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Superman 2025, and Fantastic Four: First Steps. I mentioned a second ago that ideally the artistic and monetary value of a film should theoretically overlap, but 2025 disproved that for superhero films. Well, there is one exception where a superhero film performed exceptionally well, both critically and financially, and that movie is Superman 2025. Superman received a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes popcorn meter and offered audiences a strong Superman narrative while also delivering on the inaugural film for James Gunn's new DCU cinematic universe. Not only was Superman a critical success among fans and critics alike, it was also the highest grossing superhero film of the year. Unfortunately though, this is the only film of the year where monetary and artistic success fully overlap. The next film I want to discuss, Captain America: Brave New World, was an artistic failure but a monetary success. The film earned $415 million worldwide with a reported budget of $180 million. Marvel Studios apparently considers this a modest success, but certainly not a monetary failure by any means. But the film was poorly received with a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, likely due to a number of factors, like the big twist villain being revealed in the marketing, a plot that relied heavily on Eternals, a movie the MCU has otherwise tried their hardest to make audiences forget about, and other miscellaneous critical failures. The next two films fall into the most tragic final category of this video: artistic and critically well-received films that underperformed at the box office. According to Variety magazine, Thunderbolts is one of the lowest grossing MCU installments, possibly losing millions. And that's despite Thunderbolts' critical acclaim and respectable 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. And Thunderbolts was good. It gave us a great cast of characters, a good story, and even scratched at a deeper message about depression that other MCU films fail to even approach. And Fantastic Four: First Steps is even more complicated than Thunderbolts. It grossed over $500 million worldwide, and there's been contradictory conclusions I've found on whether or not the movie was a financial success or not. Some sources say that its break-even point ballooned to $875 million with reshoots and marketing, while other sources report that Marvel Studios was disappointed with the film's performance despite it scraping by with a modest profit. Regardless, no one seems to be claiming that Fantastic Four was a smashing monetary success. But many, myself included, are claiming that it was an artistic and critical success. The film received an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes and gave us the strongest on-screen versions of these iconic characters that we've ever seen. But that wasn't enough. Not for Fantastic Four or Thunderbolts to come out as a monetary success. So, what gives? Both monetary successes were backed by huge IPs, namely the Superman and Captain America IP. Not to mention that Captain America had the star power of Harrison Ford behind it as well. Superman had a huge IP backing it and was also a good movie, but what about Brave New World? There's a number of reasons Captain America: Brave New World might have outperformed its 2025 MCU counterparts, despite those counterparts both being better received. Firstly, it was the first MCU movie of the year after only one release, Deadpool and Wolverine, from last year. Audiences had mostly recovered from superhero fatigue. Additionally, Harrison Ford's star power and the recognizable and already established IP of Captain America make general audiences feel like spending their hard-earned money on this movie is less of a risk than spending that same money on a ticket for something a bit nicher like Thunderbolts. Regardless of these speculative explanations, this worries me, because I hope film studios, Marvel especially, don't learn the wrong lessons from this. In my opinion, they need to keep working at reaccumulating good faith with the audience by creating more high-quality projects like Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, not more films like Captain America Brave New World, which, yes, have a lot of IP power, but lack substance and quality. So, was 2025 a good year for superhero films? At the end of the day, yes, I think it was. We, as the audience, got 3 out of 4 well-crafted and compelling projects, so I really shouldn't complain. Though, I sincerely hope studios don't take the wrong lessons from what was and was not a financial success this year. So ultimately, I think 2025 was a good year for superhero movies, especially for audiences. Superman 2025, Fantastic Four First Steps, and Thunderbolts were all highly competent films that offered a lot of substance for fans and casual viewers alike. Let me know if you agree, if 2025 was a good year for superhero movies or not, and tell me why in the comments. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm a YouTuber, you know what I want. Do the things if you feel like it, and I'll catch you next time.